Well, hello, mamas. Jessica Coulter here. Time to study with Jessie for another excuse that our teens say. Excuse is need to. So, mamas, your teen, does he say I don't need to do blank, whatever it is? I want to know what that blank is. Is it studying for a test? Is it a homework? Is it a chore? What is it that you've heard your teen say very recently? I don't need to blank. I want to know. And we're talking about this because I can tell you, as a tutor, as a CEO and founder of Ace Cookie Tutoring, students tell me all the time, I don't need to when it comes to school. Okay. So definitely want to give you some tips, some strategies to try out, some things to learn, and also want to invite you to my Facebook group after the video. The link's in the description. So our teens don't need to. You've shared with me what it is. A lot of times I hear from students and parents who are upset that homework's not getting done, that studying for tests isn't happening, projects aren't getting started, all of those things. Okay? Now, when it comes to homework, the first thing I want to ask you, mamas, is your teen doing homework that's worth a grade? Is he doing homework that's not worth a grade? Now, you might go, Jessica, if it's not worth a grade, is it homework? And then the answer to me as a tutor, as an educator, is definitely yes. Anything that the teacher gives your teen, anything that your teachers, whether we're talking middle school, high school, or college, whatever those teachers, those professors are handing your student, your child, to do as practice, whether it's studying for a test, whether it's an assignment, whether it's something that they suggest your child does, all of that is homework. Okay. Now, you and I know, Mama, what happens when we don't do things that need to happen. Okay. Because whenever I have a student tell me I don't need to do this assignment, I look at them and I tell them, well, yeah, you don't have to do it. You don't need to do it. It's not life or death. But I ask them, well, what happens if you don't do this assignment? Because you and I know, Mama, the consequences. Your teen who doesn't do his homework, not going to get a great grade on the test. He's not going to get a great grade in the class. And he's definitely not going to understand what's going on without some extra practice. Okay. Now, for you and me, we know we don't need to work. If we don't want to work, we don't show up, then the bills don't get paid. We all know what happens when that happens. We also know if we don't don't need to do chores around the house, like taking out the trash, doing the dishes, well, then things are going to pile up, get kind of gross, get kind of nasty kind of fast. You and I know this, but our teens don't always know what the consequences are of doing things that he doesn't need to do. Okay. So a couple more thoughts here to share with you. Before I do, I want to say thanks for watching here on YouTube. Thanks for watching on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe and follow Ace Cookie Tutoring so you catch even more videos all about studying, all about teens, all about school. So next thing I want to tell you, when it comes to that excuse, I don't need to. My thought and the thing I want you to know, so that way your teens will know, is that if homework doesn't get done, if those projects don't get done, those tests don't get studied for until it's too late, you're always, and this is for your teen is always going to miss out on something. Okay. So that need is going to translate into a want somewhere along the line. So your teen didn't need to study for that test because he knew it already, because there was no way he could fail it. Well, then he fails it. Or maybe he gets a C, or he gets a lower grade than he wanted. Well, later on, that didn't need to study for a test that resulted in lower grades, not as good understanding. It's going to cost your team maybe the grade he needed to get on to some kind of academic team, whether it's Scholars Bowl, Quiz Bowl, Mathathon, whatever. It could also eventually lead to your teen, getting a bad grade in the class so far that he can't recover, which means he wanted to play basketball. He wanted to play tennis. He wanted to be part of some athletic organization at school. He can't because his grades aren't up to snuff and there's no going back. Okay. So that's the other big piece of advice I want to give you, mamas, is that when your teen says, I don't need to, help him realize there's going to be a want that matters to that need to. Okay, so ask him, okay, well, what happens if you don't do this? What happens if you don't know it as well as you think? You don't get the grades you need, you don't do this, like what's gonna snowball? Because our teens, like I said, they don't always know what the consequences are. And I gotta tell you, even as an adult, sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. Well, our teens are gonna feel that hard. They're going to feel that big time at the high school level if we don't always open their eyes. Now, we can't do it all for them. We can't care more than they do. So if your teen says, I don't need to, and you've done your best and ask them, well, what happens if you don't? And they're like, well, sometimes our teens have to fall flat on their face to realize, oh, this is what mom mentioned. This is why the tutor said that. Now, this is what Jesse really meant. These things your teen has to learn with time, with experience. So definitely would love to help your teen, love to learn, would love to teach your teen some study skills like time management, like motivation, so that these things called needs and wants can actually happen. And your teen can stay on track for graduating high school and making those dreams come true. So thanks so much. I'll see you here next time for another excuse. Until then, join my Facebook group by clicking the link in the description, answer a couple questions, it'll be in, so I can teach your teen how to learn so he can love to learn. Bye, mamas.